Hi everybody, welcome to another video about the 2023 Steam sale. In this one, I'm going to talk about 6 games that I personally have played at some point in my life, and they stuck with me enough that I feel like I should recommend them to you. This is a list in no particular order, so do not take it as a tiered list. This is just the order that I threw the video together in. The first game I would like to talk about is going to be Donut County. This is one where you're going to take control of a little raccoon. His name is BK. BK has come into possession of an app that lets him remote control a hole. The point of the game is you are going to use this hole to make things fall through it, as well as solving puzzles. When things pass through the hole gets larger. It's a pretty simple concept. It's incredibly addictive, though. As the game progresses, you will be sucking down bigger and bigger things. You're going to go from just fruit and bricks to bushes and trees, then houses, whole buildings, mountains. It gets pretty crazy. Not a super long game either. You could probably knock this one out in a weekend. But things of note in this game particularly are going to be the writing. It's not voiced because it's a smaller title or a smaller studio, but the writing is superb. It's very, very funny. It's worth actually taking the time to read through it. Don't just skip it to get to the next zone. Definitely slow down and just drink in this very whimsical writing that they've put into this. Next up, we've got Okami. This is a game that I played a very long time ago. This is a PlayStation 2 game that came out in 2006. So it's been a minute since this first hit the market. There's been 3 different PlayStations since then. But the game still holds up. It's got this really cool Japanese ink painting style to it, which makes it almost timeless in that it's always going to look good because they weren't utilizing PS2 graphics. It's not going to look so much like a PS2 game, similar to how the Borderlands games are always going to kind of look good because they've got that cel shaded thing going on. But in this game, you're going to take control of a wolf goddess named Amaterasu. I think that's how you're supposed to pronounce it in English. The gimmick, the main thing in this game is that you can slow down or freeze time, and you can use your a magical paintbrush that allows you to interact with the environment and some of the bosses. From what I remember, there's a bomb that you can draw. There's a slashing motion that can cut. I'm sure there's more. It's been a long time, and it might just be my nostalgia going crazy, but when I saw this one on sale, I couldn't help but recommend it. I've got such fond memories. This was Clover Studios' swan song game. I don't know why they shut down because this game was phenomenal, but I do remember some of the collectibles in this game being little clovers as a nod to Clover Studio. I hope the people in that studio went on to do great things, because this was a really, really great game, and I would have loved to have seen more in that style from that studio. Next up, I've got a game that came out this decade. This is Going Under. Going Under is a roguelite, a hack and slash, beat 'em up dungeon crawler of sorts. You are an intern. I forget the name of the company, but you're an intern, and you are tasked with doing all of this obscure stuff, which leads you to going in these areas that are infested with monsters. And in order to get through, you are going to pick up different office supplies and beat the crap out of everything thrown your way. This is just a very fun game. It's from Aggro Crab, and I think this is their first game. And what an entry into the world of video games that they've got here. I played this nonstop for a solid week or so. I did most of the content. I didn't do the DLC. There's a couple of achievements that I just couldn't be bothered to do. It was a lot of specific grinds that were necessary that I just didn't feel that I needed to get done. But it's a great little time sink, and I can't recommend it enough. The art's fun. It's very colorful. It's very bright. It's not too challenging. I know people get scared off by the roguelite, But this one's not too bad. Nothing like, your Binding of Isaacs or your Dead Cells or, you know, I don't know, Slay the Spire. That's kind of different. It's a card one. But I'm rambling now. So anyways, definitely you want to check out Going Under. If you've never heard of it, at least take a look at the trailers, see what you think. I'm a fan. And if you like what I've recommended so far, then you'll like that one. I've got a Hat in Time. This game puts you in charge of Hat Kid, who I'm not entirely sure what she is. I think some sort of alien with powers. It was never made quite clear to me. I don't know if I didn't find the answers or didn't look hard enough. But you are a little kid. Your spaceship is docked outside of a planet. Something happens and you become stranded. You need to go collect hourglasses that have fallen down to the nearby planet. It's called a Hat in Time because the hats in this game are the big gimmick or the big mechanic. You're going to gain different hats as you play that are going to unlock different abilities, like a sprint and one that's going to let you see invisible platforms, for example. You're going to use these to solve different puzzles to progress through the levels. Eventually, you'll have to go backtrack to earlier levels if you want to do a 100% completion situation, but that's not necessary. You can beat the game without having every single hourglass. They did come out with some DLC, which I have not had the chance to play just yet, but the base game is very good. The first zone drops you into a city where you are battling against the mob. You're fighting against mobsters, and you're like a 12-year-old kid or something, maybe younger. It's very cute. The writing's fun again in these. Definitely take a listen. Definitely don't skip through the dialogue is what I mean to say. It's not just cut and paste garbage. It's well thought out. They put some time into the story and into the dialogue. All right, next on my list, I've got the Pathless. This is an atmospheric adventure game where you're going to take control of a hunter exploring an island. At first, you're going to be able to... You move around and you're slow. The gimmick in this one is that you're going to use your bow and arrow to shoot these glowing white targets all over the air. If you hit them, you go faster. If you combo them, you can run even faster. So just zipping around this world is super fun, and it's very pretty. You will very quickly fall into a rhythm where you're not even really thinking about aiming. It's just becoming second nature to you as you're very quickly traversing this landscape. It does have some Death Stranding elements in it, in that there are some gigantic bosses that you're going to have to deal with in a unique way. You sneak around, and if you're spotted, it ends poorly for you. And so there's a bit of stealth to it, but it's just such a fun game. Another short one as well. This is one that, again, you could probably do in a weekend with full completion, but that doesn't diminish the experience, at least in my opinion. I don't think short games are equivalent to bad games. So definitely give this one a look. All right, last but by no means least, I have picked out Nobody Saves the World. This is an action RPG made by the people who make Guacamelee, Drinkbox Studios. This game, you wake up as a nobody. You go to a wizard's tower, you find a magic wand, you're told to leave it, and you don't. And the wand allows you to shift your form into a bunch of different things. There's a mouse, there's a bodybuilder, there's an egg, there's a knight, there's a miner. I think he's from the DLC, but the DLC is worth picking up for sure. You are trying to figure out what's going on with the world. There's a blight that's taking over, and it's slowly infecting everybody. And the game is actually very transformative. As you carry on, the blight is going to affect more and more of the environment and the NPCs that you're interacting with. It's going to change their look. The fun thing about this game is all of those abilities or the classes I mentioned earlier can be mixed and matched. So you can be a horse and you can use the slime trail from the slug. So you're galloping along at super speed, but you're leaving behind you a trail that slows enemies. So then you can turn around and line up a nice kick from the horse's hind legs to do some big damage. This one is a little bit longer, definitely not one that you'll finish in a weekend unless you are super dedicated. This might be a couple weekends of gaming, but still, this isn't necessarily supposed to be an exhaustive list of short games, but good games that I've played and enjoyed. And I did really enjoy this one. If you're a completionist, it does get a bit grindy at the end. You have to do a bunch of these challenges and max out your level for all the different classes. It's not too bad, but it doesn't come naturally. And when I was finished with the game, I was happy at that point to be done with it. I was tired of the grind and ready to move on. But, you know, for 95% of my time, I was enamored with the game. And then that 5% grind is just the completionist in me that couldn't leave it alone, had to complete every achievement and get that 100%. But that is the last game that I've got on my list today. And that is my list of 6 more games from the 2023 Steam sale that I personally have played and believe that you should play. These are games that I feel are worth your hard-earned money. Let me know what you think of my list. Have you already played some or all of these games? Are any of these new to you? I hope so. And before you go, I do have to ask, if you enjoyed your time here, please subscribe to the channel, hit the like button on the video. It all helps. I just crossed over 50 subs, which is a pretty big milestone for me. I'm well on the way to 1,000, but still got a long way to go. So if you just take 2 seconds and hit that button, you are doing me a huge solid. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video.